Once upon a time, in a quiet town nestled between rolling hills, lived a young woman named Aaliyah. She was like many others, full of dreams, but weighed down by self-doubt. Every morning, Aaliyah would wake up, look at the vision board she had created years ago, and sigh. It was covered with pictures of places she wanted to visit, goals she wanted to achieve, and quotes that once fired her spirit. But now, it felt more like a reminder of what she hadn't done. One chilly autumn morning, something changed. While sitting in the park, watching the golden leaves fall, she noticed a small bird struggling to take flight. Its wings flapped wildly, but it couldn't seem to lift off the ground. For a moment, she wanted to turn away, unwilling to watch what seemed like a losing battle. But the bird didn't give up. It kept flapping, hopping, and trying. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, it lifted off and soared into the sky. Something stirred in Aaliyah. If that tiny bird can push through, why can't I? She thought. That evening, Aaliyah pulled out her dusty journal and wrote down a single sentence. Tomorrow, I will take one step toward my dream. The next morning, she decided her first step was to walk into the local community center and ask about workshops. She wasn't sure what she was looking for, but she knew she had to start somewhere. To her surprise, she stumbled upon a public speaking class. Public speaking was her greatest fear, but she couldn't shake the idea of how empowering it might feel to conquer it. With trembling hands, she signed up. The first class was terrifying. Aaliyah stood in front of a small group, her voice shaky, her palms sweaty. She stuttered through her introduction, convinced she had made a fool of herself. But as she sat down, the instructor smiled and said, "Courage isn't the absence of fear. It's taking action despite it. You've already won." Those words stayed with her. She kept attending the class, and each week she improved. Her confidence grew, not just in speaking, but in how she saw herself. The ripple effect of that single step began to unfold. One day, Aaliyah decided to share her story about overcoming fear at a local event. She poured her heart out, talking about her struggles with self-doubt and how she found the courage to take small steps forward. The audience was captivated, and to her surprise, people approached her afterward, sharing how her story had inspired them. But life wasn't all smooth sailing. Shortly after the event, Aaliyah was offered an opportunity to speak at a regional conference. It was a massive platform, and the idea of standing before hundreds of people terrified her. She almost said no. Doubt crept in. What if I fail? What if I'm not good enough? But then, she remembered the bird in the park. She decided to channel her fear into preparation. On the day of the conference, Aaliyah stood backstage, her heart pounding. When her name was announced, she walked onto the stage, took a deep breath, and began. Her voice quivered at first, but as she spoke, she saw nodding heads, smiling faces, and even a few tears in the audience. She realized that her vulnerability was her strength. By the time she finished, the audience erupted into applause. People lined up to tell her how her story had touched their lives. One man said, "I've been stuck in a job I hate for years, but after hearing you, I'm going to take the first step toward my dream." Aaliyah's journey didn't end there. She continued to share her story, started a blog, and even wrote a book about her experiences. She became a source of inspiration for thousands, proving that change begins with a single step. Years later, when asked how she transformed her life, Aaliyah would smile and say, "It wasn't about giant leaps. It was about small, consistent steps. Every journey starts with just one." Here's a long motivational story tailored for your YouTube channel. It's a fictional yet relatable narrative meant to inspire and connect with a broad audience. The ripple effect of a single step. Remember, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. What's yours going